everybody. Thanks for coming. We're actually here tonight because it's the eve of the 16th anniversary of Nelson Mandela's election. So that's why we all rushed together tonight. And that would have been enough, more than enough reason to celebrate, but because our volcanic friend, finally decided to cooperate, and FedEx this morning was able to deliver some books. We can also celebrate the publishing of Under Protest, The Rise of Student Resistance at the University of Fort Hare. I'm honored tonight that Tom Karis will offer an introduction to the book, but before he speaks, I wanted to tell you a little bit about him and the role he played in bringing us all here tonight. Some 12 years ago, Brown University sent me off to South Africa for a year with $15,000 in my pocket and a mission to, quote, grow through sharing and being open to another culture. But more important, Newell Stultz, a Brown professor, sent me on my way with a phone number and orders to call Tom, a professor emeritus of political science at the City University of New York, prior to taking off. Before I had a chance to pick up the phone, Tom called me and invited me to lunch at the CUNY Graduate Center. When we met, he handed me a list of about 24 South Africans who had studied at Fort Hare, including some contact information from his records. He suggested I start with Frida Matthews, the wife of Fort Hare's first graduate, Zetke Matthews. Unfortunately, she passed away before my trip, but I did end up interviewing many of those on his initial list. I'd always say that I brought greetings from Tom Karis in New York, and those were the golden words that opened many doors for me among South Africans who know of the work Tom has done over a span of more than 50 years that he has been associated with South Africa. During my year conducting research for the book, Tom was among my most dedicated pen pals. He showed a genuine interest in and enthusiasm for my project, inspiring me to forge ahead when doubts crept in. He enthusiastically read every transcript of every interview I did, and I don't think anybody else in that room had that distinction, offering suggestions on interview techniques and occasionally disputing the recollections of some of the South Africans. And he was one who had the standing to make such challenges. Tom is the chief author and editor of a 5-volume history, From Protest to Challenge, a documentary history of African politics in South Africa. The series is based upon documents and interviews more extensive than those of any other liberation movement in the world. The Times Literary Supplement of London called the project, quote, a feat of such distinction that it is hard to call to mind a single parallel or precedent. Working with Gail Gerhardt, who is here tonight and who also offered invaluable suggestions that greatly improved my book, and several others, Tom spent more than 40 years collecting some 10,000 documents and interviewing South Africans about the history of black politics in South Africa. He has a longer history that I actually wrote, but I'm not going to go through all of it. I'd like to call Tom up here. After retiring from a long career, he was at City College for a long time, where he was head of the political science department. He published widely, taught courses about South Africa. He was a critic of Reagan's policy of constructive engagement with the apartheid regime. He instead argued for economic sanctions, testified before the committees of the House and Senate, and in New York during 1985 to 1988, he and Gail brought together for discussion white South Africans with members of the African National Congress and other exiles to meet and have discussions. He's received numerous honorary degrees. He's a member of the African Advisory Committee of Human Rights Watch, and he continues to lead a remarkably active life at the age of 90. He travels to places such as Greece and Cuba and, of course, South Africa, and he's currently working on a book on the South African Constitutional Court, promoting equality, South Africa's Constitutional Court, which his wife Mary, who's sitting right here, hopes he buckles down and finishes rather soon because they have more trips to take. So without any further ado, I'd like to call up Tom Karis.